Hello Aquarius and welcome to my channel Green Line Goddess Tarot. My goodness, big week ahead. We are moving into an eclipse, a new moon eclipse in the sign of Scorpio at 2 degrees on the 25th. George is like, yes, he's really ready and pumped for the eclipse. You can hear my rooster in the background crowing. So yeah, the new moon eclipse, it's a partial solar eclipse happening in the sign of Scorpio. We have as the main energy coming in the Five of Swords. Okay, it's a really fascinating eclipse actually, because as you know, eclipses bring about change. Often it is, and that can be both good and bad. Often it is the start of a journey of change that I'm really sensing with this eclipse. And it is in the sign of Scorpio, so it is a Mars-ruled eclipse because Mars rules Scorpio, and a Pluto-ruled eclipse because Pluto also rules Scorpio. So yeah, the interesting thing about it is that Venus, the planet of love, and rules your value and your confidence and also your self-worth, but also resources. So love, relationships and resources is something that's coming up. Venus is conjunct the new moon, and it's a dark moon, so, and a Mars rules sign, so she's kind of in the shadow, and Pluto's there, the lord of the underworld, and she's kind of in the shadow going, I don't feel necessarily comfortable in here, but I'm learning a lot about what's going on down here. And that's why I'm getting this sense of the Five of Swords. This is conflict that's coming in terms of a situation. So some things that are coming up might be to do with just where you've been arguing or fighting with somebody, or just not on the same page, or just feel like, you know, their ideas are just so different to yours that you just can't quite, it's just not resonating. So there could be some sort of fallout that's occurred here with this Five of Swords. It's where somebody always wants to be right or get the last word in kind of energy, but it could just be conflicted inside your mind about how to approach these issues to do with relationships, love and relationships, and how your resources are working, because the Scorpio energy is all about paying your bills on time and how that's all working for you. Like it can have, how's your income coming in a regular pattern. It's about fixed energy of money being and resources being worked on a regular kind of pattern. So there's a lot that you can be working with this year, and what Venus is doing, learning while she's in this dark place, in the shadow, she's learning a lot about power differentials and control, power and control, because that's a very Scorpio Pluto kind of energy that's coming in here. So learning a lot. It's complex. It's not like one thing's good and one thing's bad. It's just very much you're learning a lot. Like you're finding out the truth about a lot of things, and then you can transform it. It's the start of a transformational energy. So it's kind of looking at potentially where there's been conflicts around those sort of issues in your life, like managing resources or managing resources with somebody else, like fights over money pretty much, or whether it's to do with, you know, just control issues within love and relationships and power differentials. So, you know, there's a lot that you can unpack with this. So, but you have the Five of Swords, which is the element of air. So it really is to do a lot. I think it's to do with the communication and how you're processing things and working with other people's ideas. Is something that's coming through with this. We have as a higher potential for this energy that's coming through this week is the Five of Crystals, persistence and new possibilities. So it's kind of interesting because it's like something, you could be really conflicted about something, or could have some kind of conflict that's gone on, like an argument or disagreement, but they're saying the higher potential is that you could really stick with something and it could open up to these new possibilities. So if you're arguing with your partner, or there's something you're not agreeing with somebody on, there's a sense of, well, yes, stick with the energy, not necessarily with the argument or the conflict, but stick with the sense that there's something that needs to be resolved here, and you can open up to new possibilities. Same if you're working with resources or having issues with resources. So yeah, new possibilities. That little ladybird is climbing that tree going, keep going. There are new things that lie ahead that I can't see just yet, but new possibilities are opening up. So let's look at the shadow, what's happening deep down in the shadow with this energy for you that you might be looking at and working with this week, Aquarius. George is wanting to emphasize this, so let's see what's coming through for Aquarius. Oh, we've got the Emperor. Okay, so definitely the Emperor, like we said, this is Aries. The Emperor, this is Zeus, the king of the gods here. So, the most powerful position. It's all about power, control, creating some kind of order as well. So if you're just wanting to bring something that's felt quite conflicted into order, that's something that, how do you do that? That's part of what's going on. And again, it's to do with the power, what's going on in terms of how you're asserting yourself, how powerful you're being within a situation when it comes to love and money and relationships and all that sort of stuff. And these are things that, if you think of little Venus down there going, okay, now I'm actually meeting Mars's ruler here. I mean, well, the Emperor, which is represented by Mars, it's Aries, basically. And it might be to do with a relationship with an Aries or with a boss. The Emperor can represent bosses or even very authoritarian parents or teachers, just people that have had authority over you in your life, and how you've potentially had a differing point of view or differential in the way that they've gone about things, which is interesting. And it's kind of like, what's your stuff and what is somebody else's stuff? What have you been taught how to be a certain way? And you're like, this doesn't feel like me, doesn't feel like, if I come down to my true essence of myself, that was something I was taught by this other person and it wasn't me. Or maybe you were taught to be the opposite and just be taught to be a little bit disempowered. And it's like you can now connecting with your power. So there's just so much. I'm not really getting that there's really a lot of right or wrong. Well, obviously, like it's all about how you're processing and understanding it. And you might process it if that wasn't right, the way somebody did that. And I think this is a better way. But it's more about just this is a complex situation and you're just sitting with a lot of information and learning a lot here. So let's look at what aspects or energy could be challenging this week. The shadow is always interesting to work with, but let's see, there's too much happening there. With Pluto involved, can bring transformation. So let's see what energy is going to challenge you this week. What energy is challenging Aquarius this week? So we've got the Hanged Man, interesting, Pisces, Water, Neptune, and Cancer. So the Hanged Man is interesting because it's where you're wondering what it is that you want to let go of, what you need to let go of here. And it can also be about surrendering to a higher. The Neptune energy, interestingly, Neptune is unconditional love. It's forgiveness. It's a very high form of spirituality. So it could be surrendering to a higher power, surrendering to something else. So it's interesting with this energy coming through because I just get this sense of it's about both of those things, quite literally. Surrendering to a higher force, a higher power, listening to what your soul and spirit is teaching you about what's authentic to you, and then understanding what it is that you need to let go of, to sacrifice in order to open up to the new possibilities within this situation. So let's see what energies are supporting you and helping make this all easier this week. So let's see what's coming through for Aquarius. More Neptune, actually. So I feel like Neptune energy, Cup 4, Neptune, Cancer. The Neptune energy is really, I think, really helping you is it's this very higher spiritual energy that wants to kind of lift you up and above. It's not so much about doing, it's about sitting. It's non-competitive energy as well. So it's about just sitting with these high spiritual energies. It's very soft. It can be very imaginative. But like I said, it can be around just being able to work with how you're feeling. So spending a lot of time working with, there's something on offer here emotionally and how you're feeling about that, how you're feeling about the situation and what's being presented here. So, the Neptunian energy is potentially helping you kind of see it from that higher spiritual energy and be open to that. And which is kind of why it was asking you here to surrender. That was the challenge, to surrender. And then it says, once you've surrendered, I can help you. So, interesting. So let's pull a fairy card, a fairy card. And it's also about, just being open to, the messages from your soul, to this deeper searching for something that might be coming through in terms of what you're looking for with love and relationships. Oh, okay. We have the fairy godmother, beautiful, coming through. Okay, so Sagittarius just got this card as well. So if you've got any Sagittarius in your chart or you're cross-watching for a Sagittarius, you might want to watch that reading, and that would mean that the two of you are in a relationship with Sagittarius. The two of you would definitely have the fairy godmother doubly strong, like blessing your relationship. This is where she brings in magic, blessings, makes everything a little bit easier. So this with Neptune, it's like there's this very high spiritual guidance, spiritual guides that are around you even. And these can be people that have passed over, but there's this sense of somebody's looking out for you in the higher spiritual realm. So it's just going to help you. And it can bring little moments of inspiration. It can just, things can magically work out. All of a sudden, if you feel like you're going down the wrong path with something or you're struggling with something, she just brings a little fairy dust in and goes, okay, I'm going to make this easier for you. So this is just quite literally like having a fairy godmother around that's helping you, guiding you, and just kind of, making things easier, which is really fantastic. So beautiful little blessings coming through. This could quite literally be a person in your life as well. But yeah, it's kind of like if you're struggling with like a person or a situation in your life, it could actually get, there could be some little things that could get magically resolved around it, which you don't even have to do anything. So that's the good news around that. Let's pull an animal energy, an animal spirit energy to finish this one off for you. Lots in there, but I feel like they're right. I feel like this is all right. So, okay, I want to pull these two. Here we are in the shadow with the snake and the octopus. Lovely. Okay, so the snake is saying there's an ending of a cycle happening here. It's a sense of and receiving the gifts. This is actually a south node. Like this new moon is also working with the south node because the south node is in Scorpio. So it's a south node ruled eclipse and new moon. And the south node is where we're letting go of old karmic cycles because we've already learnt the lessons, and you are being connected to your gifts, the gifts of that lesson. That you've been through. So karmic gifts are coming to you, quite literally with the snake, and connecting you to your gifts. And the octopus is something that's come up from the deep as well. So, come up from that shadow where you've got a lot to work with here. This could be very inspired time, and it is requiring a little bit of flexibility, but there is this sense that it might be really great for those of you that are writers. This could be a really deeply inspiring time, but it could be really good just to journal or write it down as well. But the octopus is like deep feelings are emerging and just wanting you to be a little bit flexible with it. And yeah, it's a lot that you're processing here. But yeah, beautiful. I feel like there's beautiful gifts coming, karmic gifts coming to you that are emerging from the deep. So these could be deeply inspirational, which is really fantastic. We've also got the lion, the nightingale, and the fox. So the lion is connecting you to your leadership, to your strength, to your power. So it's kind of interesting with the emperor energy. The emperor energy is kind of where somebody exerts leadership and power and control over somebody else or creates order, whereas the Leo energy of the lion is actually more about where somebody's leading by example. You just are being, and that it's kind of very heart first. So the lion energy, yes, you're being very clever with the way that you are seeing your world at this moment in time. There's new opportunities that you might want to step into that are coming in, which is really lovely. And again, we've got the nightingale, which is this sense of the beautiful message coming from the moon here about stepping into your power, stepping into your leadership, and making the most of the opportunities that are in front of you at this moment in time. So yeah, beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And again, I get a lot of creativity that could come through with this, which is actually really beautiful. But yeah, it's helping you remove blockages. The lion is also there's a quiet dignity to it. There's an integrity to the way that you're acting with the lion. So, yeah, it just is a sense of if there is some kind of communication, the way to work with someone who resolve something. I feel like the message you're getting is around working with this leadership quality, the dignity, the integrity, but also being very clever about it, being Mr. Fox as well. So, Yeah, there's a lot that's going on here. So that's it, Aquarius. That's your reading for the week. So thank you so much for joining me. Please like, subscribe, share, leave a comment. Love to read your comments. And if you're interested in any of my services, the link for that is in the description box below. Tarot readings, gift certificates, healings, it's all there. 2023 overview. And yeah, look forward to seeing you next week.